Okay, today is Chapter 2, Lesson 5, Compare and Order Fractions, Decimals, and Percents. Some of you may have recognized that we have skipped Chapter 4. Others of you, we have actually done Chapter 4. Chapter 4 was just percents less than 1 and greater than 100. And that's no big deal because you know how that works. It's just moving the decimal over and seeing how things work. Anyway, compare and order fractions, decimals, and percents. All right. The essential question has been asking, when is it better to use a fraction, a decimal, or a percent? We can kind of maybe start talking about that a little bit. I might have mentioned that before, that in cooking or baking, you use fractions, right? In baseball, they use decimals. And when grading a test, I use percents, right? So that we can better understand what's going on. Now, you all know how to interchange between fractions, decimals, and percents right now, so this is a good lesson for us to be on. We know how to change fractions to decimals and percents, and decimals to fractions and percents to decimals and fractions, right? We can do all that, okay? So that's an essential question is, how do you compare fractions, decimals, and percents? I'm going to tell you that. I'm going to answer that right now, okay? If you're comparing all fractions, right, you got to have like denominators, okay? So, and you usually use the least common denominator, right? LC, that's where least common multiple is going to come in. In decimals, when you compare just all decimals, you just order them from, least to greatest, and then you can tell the order. And with the same with percents. Now, if you're comparing all these together, what I would suggest that we do is that you change everything to decimals and compare everything from there. Okay, because changing things to fractions can be hard, and percents getting to a decimal is real easy, and changing fractions to decimals is very easy. Okay, so how do you compare fractions, decimals, and percents? You change them all to decimals, you compare them if you're comparing different ones. If not, remember, for fractions you want to have common denominators, and then everything else is just you can order them as needed. Right? You don't have to change decimals to anything if you're comparing all decimals. You don't have to change percents to anything if you're comparing all percents. But if you're comparing all of them combined, you need to change them all to one thing, and I suggest doing decimals. Okay, least common denominator, or LCD, is the least common multiple of denominators of two or more fractions. You should know this by now, right? It's no big deal. You've done this before, at least you should have. If you haven't, all right? I want you to complete this graph. I want you to take some time out and see if you can understand what this is asking you. Okay? I'm going to please pause my video right now and go ahead and complete this out on your own and see what you come up with. Okay, I'm going to do this now, and I want you to compare your answers with me. All right? Least is, smallest or lowest. Common means they are the same. In common, remember, if something has something in common, they are the same, right? Denominator is what? The denominator is the number that is on the bottom of a fraction, right? Let me see if I can find a better way to. Okay, after that adventure, right? The denominator is the number on the bottom of a fraction, right? And multiple. Now, multiple, we know what a multiple is. It's right when you combine two numbers and you multiply them together. Let me just double check that. So a multiple is a product. Let me see if I can spell product correctly. A product of a number and a whole number. So a multiple is a product of a number and a whole number. Okay, so that means it's a number being multiplied by another whole number. The number meaning really should be just two numbers being multiplied together, right? They can actually be fractions, but for now we'll call them whole numbers. They can also be decimals, but Again, we'll just call them numbers and a product of a number and a whole number, okay? Let's not get too crazy in how we define these, okay? All right. Now, Ernest is baking, but he wants to use only one measuring cup. He needs a half a cup of sugar, 3/4 cup of flour. What is the least common multiple of the denominators? Now, if you look at them, right, you should be able to tell that the least common multiple between, so you're looking at these two numbers right here. The least common, you're trying to find the least common denominator of those two numbers. You first have to figure out what the least common multiple is. You can see that that 4 is the least common multiple of this, right? So what is the least common multiple of the two denominators? We see it as 4, right? What size measuring cup should he use? A quarter, a half, a quarter, or a half a cup, a third of a cup, or a quarter of a cup? Okay? We would want him to use a quarter of a cup. The explanation is because the least common denominator of 1/2 and 3/4 is 4. So he would use 2 quarter cups for a half a cup and 3 quarter cups for, well, 3/4 cups. Okay, that's the explanation. Okay, the least common denominator of 1/2 and 3/4 is 4. So he would use 2 1/4 cups for a half a cup and 3 1/4 cups for 3/4 cups. My gosh, I cannot speak. It seems to elude me. All right. Compare and order fractions. Okay, again, all you're going to be doing is finding least common denominator. And the way you do that is finding the least common multiple. Okay, that's why we were working on that skill earlier this year. To compare fractions, you can follow these steps. 1, find the least common denominator of the fraction. Okay, that is, find the least common multiple of denominators. 2, write an equivalent fraction for each fraction using the least common denominator. 3, compare the numbers. Okay, look, very simple here. Okay, fill in each of these with that, or that to make the statement true. Go ahead. Okay, so they want to do 8 and 12 over here. Okay, 8 and 12. All right. So the way that we look at 8 and 12 is we try to find the least common multiple. Now, I use a factor tree. Okay, you do not have to use a factor tree. You can do it just like this. You can do the 8 and then the 12. And then go 8 times 1 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, 8 times 3 is 24, 8 times 4 is 32, and 8 times 5 is 40. I would go up to 5 every time. Okay? Do 5 for each one. So this is 12, 24, 36, 48, and 60, right? But as soon as we got to 24, you can probably see that 24 is the greatest common denominator. All right? So that means as they do it here, they get 8 to look like 24 by multiplying by 3. Whatever you do to one, you do to the other. And again, over here, they get 12 to look like 24 by multiplying it by 2. Okay? Whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. And it comes out to 15 24ths and 14 24ths. So now you can actually compare the two numbers. Now, here's what I would do. Okay? Is I would write in over here 15 24ths and 14 24ths. So now you know which way to make it is. So 5/8 is greater than 7/12. Okay? So that's how you would mark that. All right? Go ahead and try this down here. Okay? Try to do these on your own. Pause the video and try to do these. All right? By the time that you should have paused the video, maybe got going. Okay, here I am. I'm back. Put it off. All right? So I'm trying to find the greatest common denominator. The first thing I'm looking at is these two numbers right here, 3 and 9. The greatest common denominator between those two is 9. Okay? To get 3 to look like 9, I got to multiply this by times 3. All right? 2 times 3 is 6. So this is 6 9ths and 4 9ths. You don't even have to mess with the other one. Okay? 6/9 and 4/9. All you got to do is just, hey, this one's greater. All right? We already did these. This is 24, right? So you got 12 and 24. You got 8 and 24. All right? We already did that one up there, so you don't really have to like go through the whole factor thing again. Now 8 times what? 8 times 2, 8 times, so this is 8 times 3, and this is 12 times 2. Okay, whenever you do to one, you do to the other. All right? Because these are supposed to be equal. 5 times 2 is, here, you know what? Never mind. 5 times 2 is 10, and 7 times 3 is 21. Okay, and you just write these numbers up in here. This is what? 10 24s, and this one is 21 24s. So 5 12ths is less than 7 8ths. All right. Now 6 is 18. The least common denominator between those two is going to be 18. You don't have to change the 1. Okay, but to get 6 to look like 18, you multiply it by 3. 1 times 3 is, well, 3. So this is 3/18. And 3/18 is less than 5/18. Now, the only thing you need to be wary of is on a test, this is what I'm looking for. Okay? These numbers I am not. Okay? Let me see if I explained that correctly. And on a test, you know, as long as everything's equal, I'm okay with it. That's okay. I don't care. Just don't ignore what I just said there. A little tired still. Okay. Next one. Now it says order the fractions from least to greatest. Again, you got to find the least common denominator between all these. Okay, I know the way that you guys like to do it is you guys like to do this whole setup like this. I'll put them in order. Right? You got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And here's 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, and this is 7, 21, 28. Is that wrong? That's wrong. It goes 7, 14, 21, 28, 35. And this one goes 14, 28, 42, 56, and 70? 70. And 70, okay? Now, I wouldn't even bother looking at the 14s again. The 14s are pretty much done. Let's get this to grow up to at least get past 14. So this is 12, 14, 18, 14, 16, gee whiz, 16, 18, 20. All right, this is going to be, well, we have 20, but there's no 20 here. So 24, 28, 32, 36, 40. I wouldn't even bother with 7 because 7's already up to 35, and 14 is up to 70. I wouldn't even bother with those two. Let's grow this one over here. I'm going to start up right here. That's 22, 24, 26, 28, and 30. There we go. This one's up to 30. So let's stop there and see if we can find that greatest common denominator here. All right. It looks like, see, 14 is here, but there's no 14 and 4. The next one, there's no 21, so it's got to be a 28, huh? Is this the one? 28? 28? Yeah, 28. Even though it says it all over here, you still want to do it. Okay, make sure you're doing it right. And then all you do is you just order them, right? They give you what everything is here. They give you all the answers. Now you just order them right down here. See how they ordered them here? And then what they did is they put them back in their original numbers. This is the one I wanted in original numbers. That's right. This is the one I want in original numbers. I don't care about that last one where you're trying to find greatest or least, what's greater than another number. But if you got 4 numbers, right, I need the original 4 numbers put in order. I don't want the equivalent ratio or the equivalent fraction. All right, let's try these problems. All right, pause the video and try this, please. Okay, the way that I would do it, again, least common denominator here, right? You need to find the least common denominator between 2, 3, 5, and 6. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and then we got 6, 12, 18, 24, and 30. I don't think we have anything yet. We got 6s a couple places, but the 5 kind of kills everything. So it's going to be a unit of 5 of some sort. So let's get 2 up to 30 and see what that looks like, okay? So 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, and 30. We're going to stop at 30. For the 15, we got 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. We'll stop at 30 for that one. I'll go to 30 for here. Now look, it looks like 30 is going to be it. Right? All right, so you got 30. All right, so now we got to make like or equivalent rate or equivalent fractions, right? So they all need to be base 30. So then you write 5/6 equals something over 30. And then you got 2/3 equals something over 30. All right, and then you got 3/5 equals something over 30. Okay? 2 to get to 30 multiplied by 15. 1 times 15 is 15. Okay? 6 times what gets you 30? 5. So 5 times 5 is 25. Okay? 3 times what gets you 30? So that's times 10. So you got to do 2 times 10. That's 20. And then 5 times what equals 30 is 6. So 3 times 6 is 18. All right? And then you can kind of see the order that they're in now. Let me extend the page so that we can actually see them a little bit better. Let me bring this back down. All right. So now we got from least to greatest is 15/30, and then 18/30, and then 20/30, and then 25/30. And replacing those numbers, you have 1/2 is the smallest. The next smallest is 3/5. The next smallest is, I'd go through these and even, I would do that, all right? You got 20/30 is 2/3, and 25/30 is 5/6. And that's them ordered from least to greatest. Right? Did that what it asked for itself? Gee whiz, I hope so. It normally does. Least to greatest. Smallest is always on your far right. Biggest is always on your far left. Did I say that wrong? I did. Smallest is always on your far left. Right? Small, big. Right? That's how a number line looks. That's how a number line looks. That's why they're making you write it that way. All right. Now you got to compare fractions, decimals, and percents. It may be easier to compare fraction, decimals, and percents when they are all written as decimals. I said that at the beginning. Okay? They're all written as decimals. It's very important that you go ahead and just start learning to do that like that. 1/5 becomes 0.2, 2/5 becomes 0.4, 3/5 becomes 0.6, so on and so forth. You can see they got you a bunch of common fractions here turned into decimals and then turned into percents. Okay? So what they want you to do is find 3/4, compare which one's bigger, 3/4 or 0.7, right? Or 7/10. The way that you figure out 4/3 is what? All right? Remember that? Right? This is 28, so what is that? That's what, 7, right? You minus, bring down to 0, it's 0.75, so this is actually 0.75. And that means this one is bigger or greater than that one. See, that's what they did here, okay? It's exactly what they did here. Okay, but I just turn the fraction into a division problem, solve the division problem, and it becomes a decimal. All right, what else do they got for us? Okay, again, same idea. 85%, how do you change?
Good morning, teachers. At this time, there's a committee chairperson meeting.
Sorry about that. That scared me maybe about as much as it scared you. All right, the way we change 85% into a decimal is what? Move the decimal over 2 spaces to the left. So 85% is equal to 0.85. Then we got 7/8, right? Take 8, divide it into 7. Right? It goes what? 8 goes into 70. Well, there's 9 to 72, so it can't be 9. So it's got to be 8. That'll be 64. So then that gives you 6, 60. 7 goes into 60. What is that? 7 times for 56, right? And that brings down to 4. And then that goes in there 5 times. So this is 0.85. Let me write this over here, 0.85, and this is equal to 0.875. 0.85 is less than 0.875. Okay, very simple, I think. I don't think this is anything too difficult. Okay, I hope you are not having struggles with this. If you are, please come and see me. Okay, because the chances are you're just struggling with your changing things into decimals is all that you're having trouble with. There's a whole slew of them. Pause my video, okay? Or, if you're still not sure how to do this, pause my video on the last 3. Follow along with E, F, and G, but definitely pause the video and try to do H, I, and J by yourself, okay? If you cannot do any of it, all right, then you need to see me. But you should be able to do this. This is, again, not very hard. Okay? 2/3. We already saw what 2/3 turns into. This turns into 0.6 with a bar over it. Okay? But if you write that out a little bit, okay? So let me just do the division, right? This is going to be 6 for 18. As you see, 2 repeats. Okay? Okay? This is 0.66 with a bar over it. So which one's bigger, a repeating 6 or a not repeating 6? The repeating 6 is obviously bigger. Okay? So you should be able to figure that out. All right? 11/8. Oh boy. This is normally a pretty big one. All right? But at least it's simple to do. Okay? Because all you got to do is just, this is 2, because this is 22. And you got 8. There it goes. It's repeating right there, right? Right? It's going to repeat back and forth. So this is 0.72 with a bar over it. Okay? Now, again, something you should be able to easily recognize. That 0.7 is less than 0.72. Okay? So it'd be less than symbol. Okay? 1/5. Again, you put the 5 on the outside, the 1 on the inside. You do the math, right? This is 0.2. Okay? These are equal. Okay, changing a percent into a decimal, just move the decimal over 2 points. So this is 0.42. Now you can easily see which one's bigger and which one's smaller. Okay, now this one's tricky. You move the decimal over 2 spots, right? So this is actually equal to 0.07. And this is 0.7 because if you look, right, this is actually 0.7, and this is 0.07. Very easy to tell that this is smaller than that. This is 0.7 is less than 0.07 is less than 0.7. Okay, a 6.5 is done. Okay, you don't need to put that into any type of decimal form. It's already in decimal form. It's 650. You just move the decimal over 2 spots. Boom, boom. Right. So this is equal to 0.65. This is equal to 6.5. My goodness, are my words screwing up to that? Hope it doesn't screw you up too bad. Okay, and you can easily tell that they are equal. All right. If you need help, please come and see me. All right. At any point in time you need help, just stop, come and see me. Put your name in the bucket. Finish the lesson as you're going along. See if it clears anything up, and if it is cleared up, go grab your name out of the bucket and put it back in the video bucket. Other than that, wait until I come and get you. Okay? Now, this is an attendance chart, it looks like, or who went and saw. Okay? The table shows the school carnival attendance. Which grade has the greatest part of the class attending the carnival? Okay? Again, I would put everything into decimals. The first thing I would do is put everything into decimals. Look, this one you got to put into a decimal. This is 583 thousandths. 583 thousandths. 8/5. I'm sorry, 5/8. My goodness, am I screwing that up today? Okay, go ahead and do the division, right? Right here. Let me move that up because I don't want to put that there. Let's do that here. Okay. It's what, 6 for 48. Got 2 left over. Bring down to 0. Right, that goes 2 times for 16. You finally get your 4, which is what you're looking for. And then that goes to 5, and that's 40, and that's 0. Okay, so 625 thousandths is what that is. Okay, so now you have them. Okay, and what's the bigger number? This is the bigger number. This is the people who had the greatest attendance. So 6th grade had the greatest attendance. It's that easy. Don't let this confuse you. Okay, please don't let this confuse you. Try this one on your own. Okay, try to do this on your own. This should not be very hard. I'm going to bring it back into, okay. Pause video. Do it. Okay. Hiroshi found that 3/5 of his class preferred vanilla ice cream. 26% preferred chocolate, and 1400ths preferred strawberry. Which kind of ice cream do the students prefer the least? Okay, so we can easily turn this 26% into a decimal, right? This is 0.26. Very simple. So now we have 2 decimals. The only thing we got to figure out is what 3/5 is. Now, if you've been paying attention in the books, it has been telling you, what are some common fractions as decimals. And 3/5 is one of those common ones. 3/5 is actually 0.6. If you need to do the math, and remember that it's this, right? You can easily see that it becomes 0.6, right? But, so, they want to know which is the least. So what's the smallest number up here? Is 6/10 smaller than 2600ths or 1400ths? No, it's actually the biggest one up there. So the second smallest is chocolate at 2600ths, and 1400ths is the least. So strawberry is the least, right? You just put the numbers in, if you need to, put the numbers in descending, in ascending order, all right? Then you can easily see that strawberry is the loser, or the winner, however you want to look at the question. All right? Go over here. If you feel good, then start the guided practice on page 132. All of them. Remember to answer the essential question. I answered it early in the video. If you need more help, put your stick in the help bucket, and I will bring you up to my table, and we can go over the lesson. While waiting, try the guided practice. Once done, check the answers with me. That meaning once done with the guided practice, check the answers with me. If you get 100%, then you can start the extra practice pages. Okay? If not, you must correct. The ones you got wrong. Okay? You are always correcting. You are always making sure you're doing it right. You're not doing it wrong. There's no sense in doing it wrong. Okay? All right, thanks, guys. Love ya.